And if you're not happy with the circumstances in your life, your job, your money, your friends, your partner, your attitude, whatever it is, you have to choose something different. That is, if you're tired of feeling shitty.
You are listening to Turn Your Soul On Radio. I am your host and visionary doctor, Dr. Brandy Victory, and my mission is to assist high-achieving women in closing the gap between feeling unfulfilled to living a life on fire. It is time, ladies, to champion our own lives and turn ourselves on. This is Living Victoriously, ladies. This is how you turn your soul on.
Hello, you beautiful people. I hope you have had a fantastic Halloween season, dressing it up, shaking your thing, having a great time. I'm coming to you off a righteous Halloween party that we had. Halloween is our holiday. It is our thing. We dress it up. We decorate it up. We have a party every single year. It's so much fun. And it was just so sweet to recognize how awesome our community is. We had such high vibrational people here having a great time, all decked out in different kinds of costumes. We were actually going to have a costume contest and didn't make it that far, but we did have a pumpkin carving contest, which was a heck of a lot of fun. Some really unique and innovative pumpkins came out of all of that. And then, to tap it off, we had an all-night dance party in our living room. So, I'm still smiling from that event, and hoping you had a fantastic experience too. As vibrational beings, it's so vital to surround ourselves with other high vibrational beings, people who actually enhance our light rather than drain it. I'm sure you've been around people who are kind of draining, right? You can think of a few people, I'm sure, in your life that you've met and maybe know that every time you get around them, you leave tired and drained. And then there's those other people that maybe and like to be around, who, when you're around them, they just lift your spirit. They bring so much light. They make you feel good about yourself, and they just help things seem better in life, especially when you're having one of those hard days, right? I think it's the same reason why we love our pets so much. They love us unconditionally, and they want nothing from us but a few pets and a little food, right? And I can totally feel when my cat lays next to me and she starts purring, I can totally feel that my vibrational field shifts. I shift into a more relaxed state, a more comfortable, at ease state, and it just feels good. And when we feel good, we create feel-good chemicals and love chemicals in our brain. And then we create what's called heart coherence. So our brain and our heart start talking to each other, and we're in this love space. And then we become addicted to those chemicals. I know we've talked in the past about how thoughts create chemicals in our brain, and those chemicals become addictive, and which create more of the same kind of thoughts. And so we create this looping thing that happens in our brain. So we just keep re-experiencing the same thing, keep thinking the same thoughts and feeling the same feelings. And the goal is to shift out of the negative loop into a more positive loop. And so when I'm around my cat, I can just feel that I can shift into that more positive loop, right? And, I get this little high in my brain because these chemicals are being produced, and I keep coming back to pet her. And then we have this little win-win symbiotic relationship that seems to be really good. I hope you have a pet and you get to experience that too. But what if you work with people who maybe aren't team players? Maybe there's office politics or backstabbing or fighting for certain positions because you're trying to climb the ladder. Other people want to climb it faster. Maybe that stuff makes you drained. Or what if you're in relationship with someone who doesn't really understand your struggle, and maybe you feel alone? I have many women that I work with that have that story, because it's difficult when we have certain ways of being in the world from the feminine, and to expect the masculine partner or our other half to really be able to feel into what it is we have going on. And in our mind, it can feel so lonely. You can also have friends that maybe you typically hang out with and seem to be having the same dull, superficial conversations, and maybe you're desiring something different, all this can be very draining, and you may even feel like you don't want to be around those kinds of people, but you do it anyway because you've known Bitter Betty or Debbie Downer since you were 12 years old. Like I literally just heard someone tell me that. Well, she's so negative, but I've known her since I was 12. Like, well, what do you think that's doing to your energy? What do you think that's doing to your vibration? And what do you think that's doing to what you bring to life? I know when I feel drained, even if it's just having worked too hard. I remember when my grandfather, he passed from lung cancer, but I spent a lot of time in the hospital with him, and I was so drained, right? It was just draining to be in the hospital. It was draining to go through the experience. It was draining to see him suffer. And during those times when I'm drained, I have nothing else to give. Like if I were drained in this moment, I wouldn't even probably be doing this podcast. Like I have to be inspired from the inside and lit up and on fire to be able to bring my juice to you. And that's what it takes. It takes us really allowing ourselves to create space for the people that are going to help us reach that level of brightness, that level of inspiration in our lives, so that we can live more on purpose every single day. I had 2 patients yesterday, and they basically came in with the same story. It's really crazy to me how things show up in patterns. Does that happen to you, like where you see patterns showing up everywhere? I do. I see it all the time. I'll have some people come in all day long with shoulder pain, or all day long with relationship issues, all day long with not being able to speak their truth, whatever their story is, right? It's like they come in groups. And I always see that as a clue to look at my own life regarding the pattern. But that's obviously a conversation for another day. But basically, my patients come in, I'm like just chatting them up. How'd your weekend go? Did you have a good weekend? Do anything fun? No. No Halloween parties? Nothing good? Well, we went to XYZ for a Halloween birthday party. I'm like, oh, well, that sounds like that could be fun, but well, maybe not. And, the response is, well, I don't really like drinking like they do anymore. So, as the conversation goes on, what I'm hearing is that she's totally unfulfilled by her surrounding friends. That is no fun. So, of course, we chatted about how it's time for her to find new friends, which can be difficult for people to make that leap. But your vibration creates. And if you're not happy with the circumstances in your life, your job, your money, your friends, your partner, your attitude, whatever it is, you have to choose something different. That is, if you're tired of feeling shitty, okay? It doesn't mean you have to give up on your friends that you've known since you were 12. It just means that you need to raise your vibration so you attract something different. All right, your old friends can still come hang out with you if they're still attracted to your new vibration. I mean, why not, right? But chances are they won't be unless they're actually ready for change too. And then that would be really cool because then you'd have some buddies to do this whole transformation project with. And you'll be creating space for higher vibrational beings to come into your world. And that feels awesome. When I hired my coach, my most recent coach, it's Katie Pasternak. Katie, I love you so much. She caused me to stretch like I've never stretched before. Like, it was so big that I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to make that happen. But she holds this high vibration and she's so secure with herself and knows exactly who she is and can see straight through me. That there's no hiding from my bullshit in her presence at all. She holds this container that's a vibrational enhancement beyond my own container. One I felt like was in reach for me. That's why I called her. And when I actually started working with her, this transmission of confidence, it allowed me to grow into a new state of being. And it's actually how this podcast came to be. This is how I'm bringing you this now, because I had someone in my life who held a container for my growth, who showed me that, yes, I believe in you and you can do this. I think we all need that. But the thing is, I had to be ready. I've been working on myself since I was 19 years old. I'm now 46. And I had been trying to get myself off bipolar medication, to lose the extra 12 sizes, to do all those things. And it wasn't until recently that I attracted Katie into my space. And even then, it took a year and a half of me following her to hire her. Like, I had to enhance myself in such a way that I was ready to receive her and her transmission. Have you ever read or heard something and then heard it again later and thought, oh, wow, I've heard that before, and now I get it. That makes so much sense now. And it's the same exact thing. So as we grow, our vibrational space and consciousness enhances. And basically when that happens, you enhance yourself to a place where you can actually receive the transmission. When I work with my women in my 4-month Turn Your Soul On masterclass, we go through many different ways of workshopping vibrational enhancements, and then the women walk away changed. It's a mental and an emotional and a physical and a spiritual, all of it, evolution. And this is what you must do for yourself. You have to figure out how you're going to elevate yourself. It is your responsibility. I will just say that. It is absolutely your responsibility to elevate yourself. If you're listening to this, you're ready to take some action, all right? If you're sitting around eating pizza, drinking sodas, alcohol, numbing out all day, or just numbing out at night when you get home from work on a few glasses of wine, waiting for New Year's, to do something about it, it's not working for you, mama. It's just not. There's a deeper part of yourself that knows you're not living in alignment with your soul's calling. And if you keep doing this, you will definitely begin to feel pretty freaking shitty. You probably actually already do, but you don't know it because you're just so used to it because you've been doing it for so long, and it's become an addictive pattern. And you're likely in constant conversation with yourself about needing to change, but not really doing anything about it. If this is you, I totally get you, girl. I have been there, I've been there, and I invite you to dive deeper into yourself and explore how staying stuck is benefiting you. Beyond your surface beliefs of I can't, I've tried everything, nothing works, it's too hard. Those are all surface beliefs. Like, really go deep with yourself and figure out why it is you keep living in this place of contradiction. All right? And then once you figure that shit out, get off your ass, okay? We need your light. So stop squishing your light. Let us see you, love. Big badass hugs to you, bringing it to you today with love and blessings all around.
This podcast is for information purposes only. Dr. Brandy Victory is not a medical doctor, and the views and statements expressed on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Dr. Brandy Victory and the producers, disclaim responsibility from any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.